All right, peace, fam. Yo, I was just about to start working and I got sleepy as hell. So y'all forgive me because I know I'm supposed to be working on y'all orders right now. I know people gonna be mad as hell, but I will have y'all orders out by um I will have your orders out by the end of this week. I will try to get them done, but right when I got behind this damn camera, man, I got sleepy as hell, man. So um but I just wanted to come up here and bust out a quick build about a perspective that came to my level of thinking today, right? And so basically, is Instagram shadow banning me again? What's going on? Instagram must be shadow banning me again. You know they good for that one. But anyway, we're gonna keep it moving. I don't even care if one person in here watching. We're gonna keep it moving. All right, so what today I'm gonna talk about basically is art emulating life and life emulating art, right? Because that's an old European saying that art emulates life. Basically, meaning like you paint what you see, you paint what you experience, right? You make a vision out of what has been given to you, and for me, I don't necessarily think that's true. I think that art can be used as a form of projection at times, right? Whether it be through music, whether it be through movies. Hold on for a second. Am I even live or am I just talking to myself right now? Okay. Yeah, no, it says that I'm live. Thought I was just talking to myself for a second. I'm like, what the hell? Let me see something. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess they got me shadow banned again. So art to me, this is just my perspective again. From the European perspective, from the way they use art as a way of projection. Now, why do I say that, right? What type of unequivocal evidence do I have to necessarily come to that conclusion? What put that in my mind to even think that? To think that, Europeans use art to control us, right? So let's go here. We're gonna go with this saying right here from this Oscar guy right here, where he says life imitates art far more than art imitates life. Remember I talked about the previous sentence. So all right, let's deal with the 1980s. You had a movie came out called Colors, right? Colors came out in the 1980s. Few of us are, familiar with it. Some of us aren't, depending on how old we are. But Colors was basically a movie about two police officers who was working in Los Angeles, dealing with a lot of gang activity and things like that, right? Don Cheadle was actually in this movie. It was basically, a movie about living in Los Angeles, Crips and Bloods, etc., right? Then you had Boys in the Hood, came out in, let's say, early 90s, right? Okay, one thing a lot of people don't know about these movies, because if you go back to the late 80s and you go back to the early 90s, you would see that there was an explosion of gang culture, specifically Crips and Bloods, that was moving from what started in the West Coast, what started in Athens Park, what started in California, begin to spread out through the nation, right? There's actually a documentary you can look up on that called Banging in Little Rock, right? Where they talk to some of the people who brought the idea of Crips and Bloods to Little Rock, Arkansas, where they never had Crips and Bloods before. So this goes back to what I was saying about art doesn't emulate life, but life emulates art. Because if the Europeans are able to give you an image, right? Able to give you an image, and that means you're emulating that form of art, right? So you can see how through the movies they were able to engineer African people. Little Rock, Arkansas never heard of Crips and Bloods prior to that. But the gang explosion due to these movies, right? Because a lot of people, let's keep it real. What was taking place in California, it was nationwide to some degree. It was nationwide. Like you heard a lot about, Crips and Bloods, but it was the movies that made it sensational to confuse Africans. It made it juicy to Africans, right? And it made them desire it. And so you see this behavior popping up in other people's cultures, right? In other people's societies. And when I mean societies, I mean other parts of America. Even now, you got Crips and Bloods in South Africa. You got Crips and Bloods in Holland. You get what I'm saying? So it's not that art emulates life, but life emulates art. Now, another example I can give you for that will obviously have to be a different world, right? So we study the enrollments of African children to HBCUs from the time period where you had a different world on air until it ended. We've never seen a college explosion like that since, or even before, right? Because black people weren't going to college like that. We had trades, right? So you can see, if you give someone a positive image of themselves, right, you see how they will gravitate to it. If you give them a negative image of themselves, you see how they can gravitate to it, right? This is what they call in sociology the Cosby effect, right? Cosby was the first black show and black family and things like that, and blah, blah, blah. But with a different world, you see that, right? You see how we gravitate towards it, even to this day, right? Even to this day. They're using our art, our culture, if you want to call that culture. They're using our art. They're using expressions of television to associate, to assimilate our minds to destructive behavior. Little Rock, Arkansas came like the murder capital in like the 80s and the 90s because of these shows, right? And you should check the documentary out. It's called Banging in Little Rock. And I just basically, hold on. Oh, almost hit the wrong picture there. I basically want to touch on that because a lot of us think that we can, watch these movies, have our kids exposed to this type of, television or music, and think that somehow they can escape the self-hatred. We truly think that. We truly say, man, it's just music. Why are you worried about it? It's just music, man. Stop tripping, man. Hold on, what am I doing? It's just music, man. Stop tripping. Stop worrying about it. Man, I'm grown. I can listen to what I want to listen to. We think we can listen to fuck nigga this, bitch this, hoe that, and think that somehow that's not going to internalize in our behavior and affect how we treat and relate to one another. We truly think that, right? Like I always tell women, I say, if you really want to, and this is not all the time, I'm speaking in general. But I was like, if you really want to know a guy, really listen to what type of music he listens to. Like, there's a lot of men out here who just strictly listen to R&B. They listen to feel good music, right? Because they understand, man, I ain't trying to be. I don't believe in that. I'm not gonna listen to fuck this bitch, fuck that hoe. I will only listen to it if I believe in it, and I don't believe in it. I don't believe in smutting out females and disrespecting black females, so I don't listen to it. To me, it sounds vulgar, and I turn it off. So I tell females a lot of times, if you want to get to know a guy, listen, study his music, see what he watches, see what he finds entertaining or not, and then you see what he values, and then you would definitely come to a sort of a conclusion on what type of gentleman he is, or what type of man he is, what type of African he is. Because there's a lot of us out here who scream red, black, and green all day, and then we listen to the most vile, disgusting music. And then we see why we see how we end up treating each other. At the end of the day, right? You see how we end up treating each other because what we listen to, what we entertain. Your brain is an associating organism. There is no way that something coming in your peripheral view, or even not in your view, just being in the essence of in your area of you, there's no way those things don't get interpreted and put into your brain. This is why I've always said this. If anybody humming a song or playing some music, 5 minutes later, you're going to be singing that damn song. So it's not that art emulates life. It's that Europeans have learned to give us a destructive form of art, and then we emulate it. It's kind of like the saying that goes, which came first, the chicken or the egg, right? And so I have the reverse statement. I say, well, which one came first, the stereotype or the behavior, right? And I come to believe that the stereotype came first, that they stereotyped us. They gave us a certain image, right? And then we just went on with it. We went on and stopped believing it. Because one of the biggest lies that we tell ourselves, this is one of the lies that we tell ourselves, I'm sorry, is that slavery messed us up. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. Because after slavery, specifically our ancestors, and I mean our ancestors because they black and they African, so I'm talking about our ancestors, okay? After slavery, Africans in America and Africans other places too, to some degree, they were doing great for themselves. I mean, were doing great for themselves. So when we say this, like, oh, slavery messed us up, not really. Not really. Because after slavery, if slavery truly messed us up, we wouldn't have the Black Wall Streets. We wouldn't have the, you know what I'm saying, the Harlem Renaissance and these. But no, that's not what messed us up. It had an impact on us, surely. Can't deny that, surely. But that's not what messed us up. What messed us up is that we allowed the European control over our cultural views, over our art forms. That's what messed us up. We allowed the Europeans to do that because we wanted to integrate. We allowed the Europeans to buy out our black NBAs, or what was it called? Not NBA. What was it called before? The Negro Leagues. I'm just gonna say the Negro Leagues. We allowed them to buy the baseball teams. We allowed them to buy the ABA. I think that's what it was, the basketball league for black folk, ABA. We allowed that because we wanted to be closer to them. Right? So we got to be real about that. How much of an impact did slavery truly have on us? I mean, of course, it had a genetic impact on our ancestral memory, right? But did it stop us from thriving? No. Afterwards, out of slavery, we did phenomenal things. Fresh out of slavery, we did phenomenal things. Phenomenal things. We failed when we allowed the Europeans to control our cultural values, our cultural, you know what I'm saying, entertainment. That's what we failed at. That's what we failed at. We allowed them to take control. That's why I remember one time I was on a phone conference with this was I was in New Jersey. I think it was Elizabeth City. We were on a phone conversation, and it was a black phone conversation trying to change the curriculum in New Jersey. We're trying to get more of an Afrocentric curriculum. And we were on this phone with the school board, right? So it's me and other few brothers from the community. And the white lady, you know, I introduced my plan. And before you say something, you got to be like, who is this, whatever. So I introduced my plan on what we should introduce to the school system for the black kids in New Jersey, right? And the white lady was like, we can't teach that. And I said, why not? And she literally was quiet. And I was like, hello? And mind you, we're on a phone conversation with like 18 other people, whatever. You got to press the button to get unmuted, like that type of stuff, right? And I'm like, hello, ma'am, why can't we teach that? I mean, the children are African. Like, why can't we teach that? I knew why she said we couldn't teach that. Because the curriculum that we were trying to introduce would have changed the mindsets of African children, would have given them a new outlook on life. And so what she was saying through her silence is that y'all, like, we don't need, no, because, you know, I forgot who said this. If they don't treat you right, what makes you think they're gonna teach you right? I think it was John Henry Clark. If they don't treat you right, what makes you think they're gonna teach you right? And that lady flat out said, we can't teach that. And I said, it's not anything racist. It's not anything, you know, outside the box. Like, why can't we teach this curriculum to our children? We pay taxes. And then she was like, what's your name again? What part of New Jersey do you live in? I was like, I don't even live in New Jersey. I'm on this call because somebody asked me to be on this call. You know what I'm saying? But actually, I'm about to hang up. Like, bitch, I don't even live in New Jersey. But yeah, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. If they don't treat you right, what makes you think they're going to teach you right? Their whole thing is to brainwash and poison our children. That's the number one thing, to brainwash and poison our children. To have them hate themselves. Because black self-hatred and I said this earlier, black self-hatred is a $1 trillion industry. $1 trillion industry. Black people only feel good when they can spend their money with non-Africans. When they could go to Gucci, even though they're walking around the store watching you, making sure you ain't stealing nothing, making sure you ain't touching nothing, even though you know they don't want you in there. You only feel good when you can spend it with white folk. Because black self-hatred is a $1 trillion industry. And white people know that. See, the reason why they were able to effectively say, all right, we can end slavery, right, to some degree. In the beginning, why they were able to say they were able to end slavery is because they thought they had us broken. They thought they had us broken. Real shit. They thought they had us broken, right? And so black people said, okay. And for a little while, they did have us broken. They did have us broken for a little while. But then we started getting our momentum in America. We started getting right. Started building Black Wall Street. They said, hey, wait a minute. We need to think this segregation thing over. Because now we losing out on money. These Negroes spending money with themselves. See, that's why they let us go at first from slavery. Because it was an economical thing. But then when we started getting on point, they said, nah. Bring them back to us. Fuck all this integration shit. Bring them back. We need them back. We need to bring them back. Bring them back. Bring them back. Bring them back. We losing too much money. Bring them back. That's what he did it for. And also to have access to our brightest Africans. You got to understand, during segregation, that's where you had the best black inventors. After segregation, black inventions went down. Do you hear me? Black inventions went down after segregation. After desegregation, after they desegregated the schools and shit like that. Because guess what? We were teaching ourselves. We were speaking all type of languages. The smartest people on the planet couldn't tell us shit. Writing all type of books. After slavery. And they said, whoa. These Negroes getting too smart again. Bring them back into our school system. Bring them back. That's what it was about. That's what it's about. See, we think that illiteracy, and we think that us not being able to do math at a certain level, or we think that our attitudes are just our attitudes, and our dysfunction is just who we are, right? That's what we think. We don't understand all those things are political. All of them are political. The fact that our children feel like they can't do math is a political agenda, because if we truly felt that we could do math to a high level, then guess what? We'll be making bombs, because bombs are made out of mathematical, equations and things like that. We'll be making bombs and weapons of destruction to fight against our oppressors. So we have to feel like we can't do these things. We have to feel like we can't jump outside of that jar. We have to have conflict within our community. All these things are political. They inculcated these things within our mindset, right? And this is why, like, I had a sister, and I love this sister. I'm not trying to diss on her, so I'm not gonna say her name or anything like that. I hope anyway, I had a sister, and she posted something. I know her. I went to school with her. I love the sister, so I'm not trying to diss on her again. I'm not trying to diss on her. And she posted like a flag in her bio, and I was like, why you got that flag in your bio? Like, it's a European flag. And automatically she started snapping on me, right? We end up cooling things over afterwards in the DM, but she started snapping on me. Our relationships and the way we relate to each other have to be like that for white supremacy to function. It has to be. We have to be defensive. When someone says, well, why are you speaking French as your first language and you got an African dialect, or you have an African language, or why are you speaking, Spanish all the time, and you speak, African, like, why do you want to learn French? Why do you want to learn Spanish? Even when we go to school too, even when we went to school, all of us damn near had a French class, a Spanish class, or some type of stupid European class. But they never thought about teaching us, or they never wanted to teach us any African dialects. They never thought about that. They know because language is an identifier. You identify with the language you speak. Language is a part of culture. Culture is a part of values. So when you identify with the language, you identify with the culture, then you identify with the values. They know that. We don't know that. We don't know that. We just think language is language. There's certain words in the English language that do not exist in African culture. Which means that the behavior doesn't exist. Because if there's not a word for it, then there is not a behavior for it. Which means that that's a European thing. They know that. They know that language is an identifier. You identify with the language and the cultural values of that language. This is a fact. Europeans know this. They know this. So the sister snapped on me. And, we end up, squaring things off. I was like, look, I ain't trying to attack you. I'm just saying, like, you identifying with this flag, da, 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 blah, blah, blah. But our reactions to things have to be that way, right? We have to get defensive when another black person tries to correct you. You have to get offensive, especially when the black person is African-centered. You have to be like, oh, man, there you with that black shit again. It has to be that way. They have ingrained us to be that way because that helps white supremacy survive. That helps white supremacy stay in power. When black people don't want to hear shit another black person got to say. One thing I've realized is that nobody likes a smart Negro, even other Negroes. Yeah, nobody likes a smart Negro, even other Negroes. Whenever you learn a language, you can learn the culture. But yeah, facts, 100% facts, facts upon facts. I'm sorry. Is this a non-African in here? Is this non-African in here? I'm sorry. Give me a second here. I think I might see a non-African in here. Oh, he must have skedaddled. He must have got the hell out of here real fast. Boy, he ain't play no games, boy. He got up out of here real fast. I like it. I love it. I like it and I love it. One thing I always say, if non-Africans feel comfortable being around you, you should question yourself about that. You should really question yourself about that. If non-Africans feel comfortable being around you, feel comfortable saying things around you, feel comfortable, just in your presence, like you should feel this type of way about that. Like, I'm being real. Like, I know we all got to work jobs and everything like that, but I can tell you any place I worked, everyone knew where I stood. Now, you don't have to be, outrageously black and boisterous in their face, but people know what to say around certain people. And so for me, if white people feel comfortable saying, or any non-African feel comfortable saying certain things about other black people around you, like, you got to question yourself on that. Like, damn, what type of energy am I putting off that they feel like they can just say anything around me? Like, I was reading this article, and y'all could probably research and look this article up if y'all want to and read this article. It was written by a Haitian man, right? And so, the title of the article, if you Googling it, it says, and he labeled it this way just so it can be an attraction piece. So once you read the title, it's inflammatory, but you have to read the story. If you just read the title, then you're gonna be like, you see this? No, you have to read the story too. So the title of it, if you're looking it up, it says, "I'm not African American, I'm Haitian," and he has the quotation marks. So when I first see, I was like, "You see, man, what the fuck is this?" So I said, "Let me read it." And basically, it was a Haitian man from I think he said he was living in Boston, and he was working at a job, and regular Haitian, trying to make his money and shit like that. And then one day he said he came in the break room, and two white employees were talking about another employee, a black employee, but he was a African in America, aka African American, aka Black American, whatever the term is we using for now. I say Africans in America. Sometimes I cut it short, African American, simply Africans, right? He was talking about one of our brothers and sisters, and one of the white guys they was talking to did a facial expression to let him know a black person had came in the break room, right? And the white guy he said, and I'm reading as he writes it, but he says the white guy turned around and looked at him, and he said, "Oh, Jean Paul, he's not African American, he's Haitian." And he said he felt so disrespected that this white guy thought that he could talk about another black person in front of him. You get what I'm saying? I gotta go read that article. And he was like, "Nah, bruh, black is black." Like, he's like, "You talking about him like that, you won't talk about me like that." And where the fuck was I going with this point? Shit, I forgot where I was going with this point. It's too late. I gotta go to sleep. But shit, I forgot where I was going with this point. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Go ahead and say this live right quick. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Hopefully I made my point about it's not art that emulates life, but Europeans use it in the context of making life emulate art, right? They give us a certain form of art that is destructive to our being, to our core, to our spirit. So we got to understand that these people are programming our children. Oh, I was saying, if a white person feel comfortable around you, right, you should question yourself. That's what I was saying. All right, my bad. I'm sleepy as hell. Anyway, anybody that ordered a necklace, a clock, a chain, trust me, I'm working on these things day and night. Trust me, I got y'all. Understand, it's me. I'm doing this by myself. I appreciate the love, though. Don't get it twisted. I appreciate the love and support, for putting your trust in me to make you something that's, that you're going to have in your house. Like that to me, that warms my heart. For real. Like that, I'm not even joking. Not even, I don't know, that really warms my heart to know that somebody's going to walk in your house and be like, "Damn, where you get that Haiti clock from?" "Oh, damn, where you get that red, black, and green clock from?" And then somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, Brother Hassan made that." Like, that's art to me. Like, to me, that's art. Some people might not be art, but to me, that's like art where like people appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? And it's good to feel appreciated. It's good to feel appreciated. You know what I'm saying? I think sometimes we mix up ego with appreciation. Right? A lot of us, we mix up ego with appreciation, but it's good to feel appreciated. Where somebody actually is like, "Man, this is cool. I appreciate this." And so I internally appreciate people, people's support with that, man, because, I don't consider myself to be an artist or a spoken word or, whatever, any other thing that I do, but I just appreciate when somebody appreciates the hard work that I put into something. So I got your orders. I'm working on them. Trust me, I'm working on them. I got my book order over here. Look, I got everybody's orders that I'm taking. I'm writing them down. As I'm getting them done, I'm scratching your name off. You know what I'm saying? So I will have them out to y'all. I already sent this week's batch out, so you should be receiving it next week. But I'm beat, y'all. I've been working all day since I woke up today, like around 7. It's been a non-stop thing, man. Like, dealing with the Port of Miami, trying to get these books out, trying to do this, getting this wood, cutting this wood, painting this wood, working on my lecture that's coming up. And don't get me wrong, that's not me complaining, because I love what I do. I love to provide information for our people. I love to provide a cultural connection for our people. I just love doing it. And then trying to answer DMs and coach people through stuff, because some people be having real life problems, and sometimes they need answers to those problems, or at least advice to those problems, because I don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? I don't know everything, but if I could steer you in the direction of finding your answer whatever, then you know I'll do that. So let me just say this: being African, being black, being pro-black, or whatever you wanna, it's a 24-hour job to do this. It's 24 hours. It's 24 hours. But like I said, I'm working on them, sending them out, and I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for joining me. I'm finna go ahead and jump in the shower, go ahead and give me some sleep. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace.